Oi, 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 everybody. Welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be discussing the proposed Dead by Daylight Trickster changes in 4.6.1 bug fix patch, which will probably be out next Tuesday. So they say, good news, everyone. We've prepared some changes to the Trickster in time for 4.6.1. Our goals with the changes are to make him better to play, as well as giving him a slight boost in power without feeling oppressive to play against. So we're going to be kind of looking at what they do here. So they've addressed some speed issues. He's still 110% movement speed. They've changed the movement speed on the ramp. So if you didn't know, he'll throw knives starting at 3.68 and he'll slowly ramp down to 2.68 meters a second while throwing those knives. And he'll reach 2.68 meters a second after throwing 30 consecutive knives in a row. They're changing that to 3.86, and that is about a 97% movement speed. So 3.68 is 92%, 3.86 is 97%, 96.7. So this is going to make him a little bit faster while throwing his base knives. And then the ramp is actually only going down to 3.68. So this used to bring him down to, I think, about like 64, 67 meters a second. Or I'm sorry. So this used to bring him down to like 60, I made a video on it, but I think 67% movement speed at its slowest. Now this will be taking him down to 92% movement speed at the slowest. So at his worst, he'll be at what his current best is while throwing knives. Does that make sense? And main event movement speed keeps them at the 3.86 movement speed, which is 97%. And then they changed the add-on. So this change doesn't matter. I don't think that this is like a change that matters much. Like, yes, this will be good. Is it going to make Trickster way more viable? I really don't think so. He's still 110 movement speed killer. So really, while you're throwing knives, you'll be able to lose less distance, but they're still going to get a speed boost when they take laceration damage. So the knives at that point are, you still have to run up really close and use them. Or, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't really change the usage of the knives. I don't really think that this is like enough. This doesn't really do anything for him that addresses any of his problems with regards to like lethality, and this doesn't really particularly address an issue with regards to sort of like splitting pressure. So they've changed his draw speed. So they decreased the wind up time, aka like readying the knives, pulling them out, from 0.5 seconds to 0.35 seconds. So really minor change. Being able to pull out the knives means you're going to be able to, like, you know, on an LT wall or something, you'll be able to pull them out and get, like, you know, one more knife out faster or something like that, while somebody's, you know, right before they hit a window or something. So maybe this is going to be good. Again, I'm not sure. They increase the wind down grace period. So right now, switching from your knives to a weapon takes 1 second. It'll take 1.25 seconds. This is something similar they did to like Pyramid Head, just like a slight buff in that change, or a slight increase in that change. I don't think this is good. He's not a long range killer, and nerfing his ability to be a close range killer makes no sense to me. As we've sort of addressed in other videos on how to play Trickster, the prevailing strategy is to get very, very close to survivors and, you know, put 8 knives in them, and then like catch right back up by switching immediately to M1 and then getting it down within a few seconds. Increasing the wind down period from 1 to 1.25 seconds just makes this a little bit more difficult. Even though you're still moving 97% movement speed, this, I don't know, he doesn't seem to have a playstyle, and this makes him more middling to me. He still doesn't have, like, he's not long range, he's not short range. You know, I don't know. This just seems really weird. They say to make this his power feel more fluid, we've decreased the time it takes to ready the power. This will feel better to use and give you a larger window to throw knives, as you'll be able to keep up much better than before. And the grace period before you can do a basic attack after canceling your power has been increased slightly. Again, it's all very slight, and with the base movement speed from 3.68 to 3.86, it's not that big of a deal. But when you go from 97% movement speed to 110, you know, to gain that distance, I don't know, it might be significant. And this is the thing a lot of people are going to want, especially console players: more control. They removed the spread on the throwing knives, and they've greatly decreased the recoil. So the recoil is going to be a lot easier to handle. So I'm interested to see how that works out on console, for console players specifically. Right now, the recoil is not a big deal, especially if you're just clicking one knife at a time each throw instead of like holding them. But interesting. They say initially the Trickster launched with spread, random inaccuracy to each knife throw, and recoil. As landing multiple hits on a sporadically moving survivor can be challenging on its own, we've removed spread and significantly decreased the recoil. This will give you much more control and make your accuracy more dependent on your own skill. Interesting. I like the intent there. Miscellaneous changes. Increase the initial laceration decay timer from 15 to 20 seconds. This gives you a longer window to follow up with additional blades before the laceration meter decays. Here's the problem. If you're chasing for longer than 20 seconds, you've lost such a substantial amount of time. This whole laceration meter business is a problem, right? If you're chasing for 20, 25 seconds, and like it starts to decay, you've probably overcommitted to something somewhere along the way with those knives. In my mind, I could be wrong or something of that nature, but that's such a band-aid, it feels like. They decreased the post-main event cooldown from 10 to 5 seconds, so after main event, you can switch back to normal knives within 5 seconds. Main event completely needs overhauled, so this, again, is a band-aid. And the iridescent photo card can now injure survivors. The iridescent photo card was the broken iridescent add-on that we've seen before, so... That's the changes. As I've seen before and as I've said before, Trickster feels a lot like Plague. Get up very, very close, throw a bunch of knives, and then follow up with M1. He's not very effective at range. There's too many line of sight blockers and things that really just get in the way. And if you're really like holding on and trying to like hit knives at this incredibly long range, you're wasting such a huge amount of time. If you get 5 knives into somebody and they get behind a wall and you have to leave them, then that meter just decays. The problem with Trickster, I believe, is truly that he can't split pressure on multiple survivors. If he has knives in somebody and he doesn't commit to that person, he's wasted time. Those are all endemic issues when it comes to Trickster. His time to down is not great, and that need for complete commitment. There's no way to split pressure. With Huntress, right? You could throw and hit one person with a hatchet and then throw and hit another person with a hatchet, and you can kind of split that pressure up pretty quick. I mean, in some scenarios, right? And with Plague, you could vomit on 3 people and they all get sick over time or have to go cleanse. Trickster doesn't have that advantage. So while he has range, he doesn't have range. He has range that requires 8 knives. I mean, it's so easy at a distance for survivors to get behind something before they get that 8th knife, which requires you to get closer. He can't split pressure. If you get knives in somebody, you have to commit to them. I think this is tweaking and turning some knobs, but this isn't addressing his issue. Now, let me be clear. I don't want hate going towards the devs, because that's not the intent. The intent is to be constructive and give feedback that they want to listen to. And I just think that this misses the mark. I do. I like that he's going to be a little bit faster, and that might make him a little bit more effective at close range, but they really need to look into the laceration meter and do some changes there. My proposed changes are to make it so that if you only hit 3 knives into a survivor, right? So like 50% of the laceration meter is 4 knives. If they only hit 3, which is less than 50%, it would decay to 0. But if they hit like 6 knives but if they hit like 5 knives or 6 knives, that would be over 50%. Then it would only decay to 50%. This would make it so that he doesn't have to commit, but he still has to put in effort and get knives into people and still aim to some degree if he leaves. If I put 5 knives in somebody and then I leave them, I can come back and just put 4 more in because they'll be at 50% or 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then move on. I think that's the way to do it. I think that's 100% the way to make this killer strong, right? Without being oppressive. He still requires aim. He still requires that you commit a little bit. You can't just put 1 knife, come back, another knife, come back, another knife. You can't build it up over time. You do have to do a little bit of commitment, and things that Shack and, tough jungle gyms, I think, they can still be ran very well to make Trickster very tough to hit all of those knives on. I don't know. I feel like this is just tweaking some basic numbers and going from here, and this is fine if this is where it starts, but we need more, I think. This killer is just underperforming in a lot of ways. So that's what I have to say today, guys. What do you think? Of course, get some water, unclench your jaw, check us out over on Twitch, and yeah, take care of yourselves, all right? I'll be praying to the entity to see you guys in the next video.